Greetings! Welcome to the Devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off, as always, with a quick sound check. Make sure speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, I have been mostly chilling out, or at least trying to, and mostly failing to, since working on Worse World. And in the process, I've been working on a class of firearm that I had meant to get in before that update, but had been a little too complex for me to get done in time. And that is the single-action revolver, with, of course, our gun that won the West, our single-action army. One of my favorites. So, for those of you who are not super experienced with revolvers, what is the difference between a single action and a double action revolver? Well, a double action, like our Model 10 and every revolver I've added thus far into H3, if we just pull the trigger, you can see it pulls the hammer back, and then we complete pulling the trigger back, it clicks forward, hence double action. The trigger both pulls the hammer back and drops it forward. Don't ever point a handgun at your face like that. Whereas with a single action revolver, if I pull the trigger here with the hammer forward, you can see nothing happens. And that's because the trigger in a single action revolver is just releasing the cocked hammer, letting it come forward. So how do we load one of these? We don't have a cylinder that gets to swing out. Instead, we have a loading gate here on the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click left on the touchpad. What this does is it brings the revolver into half cock, opens the loading gate, and moves it a little further forward. This is my controller's about here, actually. And what this does is it allows you access to load the cylinder without smashing your controllers together. So I'm going to come in here, load around into that chamber, click right on the touchpad to advance the cylinder. Do so until the revolver is loaded. Click left on the touchpad again to come out of half cock. Now remember, hammer's not cocked, pulling the trigger, nothing's happening. We have to cock the hammer back down on the touchpad, and then we can fire. And I think we're out. Oh, there we go. And then to unload it, we go back into half cock, and we can do one of two things. We can either pull this hand forward and click the ejector like that, or we can just pull the trigger on this hand, sort of representing as though I had looped my third or fourth finger around the ejector rod and was holding the revolver around here, which I've seen in video. So let's make sure that's empty. Pop that in. So you might be thinking, well, that's not a very fast way to fire. Well, there are two faster ways to fire this. The first is that we simply hold the trigger down and then just click down on the touchpad to cock the hammer back repeatedly. Because we're holding the trigger down, the hammer will immediately fall. So we can do it like this. Pretty fast. Works for us. Pretty nice. And of course, doable with one hand, which is important. But we have an even faster way to do it. The way that gets folks who love single-action revolvers excited, the Hollywood way, the cowboy way. I'm going to stand up to do this, which is that we can fan the hammer. And the way that we do that, I'm going to go like this, just to get out of the way, is that basically what we're going to do is we're going to brush our hand rapidly, like this, behind the hammer of the revolver. It's a pretty forgiving zone so that you don't smash your controllers together. And while doing so, I'm just going to hold the trigger down. So here we go. Ready? Boom! All 6 shots. Let's go ahead and eject that. Load her up again. Let's try it from a quick draw here. Remember, if you're doing it from a quick draw with Vive controllers, we pick up guns with the trigger and then we fire with the trigger. So you're going to have to click the trigger once to pick it up, release the trigger, and then pull it down and hold again. Let's see here. Been practicing this a bit. Hand over. Boom. Far too much fun. So there you have it. Single action revolvers, the single action army, one of my favorites. And in addition to that, there's one other thing that I have been playing with this past week. A sort of unusual number that before I had seen the model for it, I had never heard of this particular rifle. This is the Model-8. It's a John Browning design. It's John Browning's first sort of self-loading rifle, and yeah, it's got an integrated 5-round magazine. It should be able to be loaded via stripper clips. I just don't have that functionality in yet. We've got we would say now, an AK-style safety selector switch on the side. I'm not sure if Kalashnikov was inspired by this, but I wouldn't be surprised. Put this in here, load in our 5 shots. The bolt come forward. Beautiful. I love this thing. It's to my knowledge, it's more of a hunting rifle, but it's got a great dimension set. I love this backside so much. So yeah. So that is what I have been working on. Wonderful. So, thanks for taking a peek at what I have been working on. I think I'm actually finally going to take the weekend off and probably go play some Warhammer. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to y'all soon. Peace.